Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. How's it going today? Hope you guys are all having a great day. I'm having a fairly decent day. I just got back from the record store. I thought I'd share what I picked up. So I went in to my record store. I had a little bit of money left over from some birthday cash and a little bit of Christmas stuff left over. So thought I'd go down there, see what I could find. Been a week and a half or better since I'd been down there. Usually hit the record store at least every other week, sometimes, weekly, depending on the mood and what's coming out or whatever. So I went down there. I didn't have anything planned of what I was looking for. Our record store puts out videos about it a couple times a week, is showing what he got in and what he's getting ready to put out. And I didn't really see much of anything. I did see the self-titled Sublime album, so I thought maybe I'd pick that up. So I went down there and I looked for it and it was gone. So I started browsing used and I saw a few things and I was like, okay. So I basically bought 4 albums that I've never heard ever. Albums that I heard of, but albums I had never ever listened to. So one of the first ones I picked up was this John Lennon Yoko Ono Double Fantasy. I've never listened to this album. But I bought it because it's got Watching the Wheels on it, and that's my favorite John Lennon solo song. I've loved that since I was a kid. I think this album came out in 1980. And I have no idea what the rest of this record sounds like. It's got Starting Over on there. I know that song too. So I picked that up. $18. Not bad. The other one I picked up, OG copy, Madonna, Like a Virgin. I've never heard this album before ever. Of course, I know a few of those songs all over MTV at the time. And I gave $18 for that. And the next two I saw the Divinyls. This one is called What a Life. I gave $8 for it. And you can see the cover's kind of beat up, but the record looks pretty good. And then I bought another Divinyls album. I also gave $8 for that. I basically bought these two because this one's called Desperate. I bought these two because, they're $8 a piece. And I knew the song. The only thing I knew of the Divinyls is I Touch Myself. It's not on either one of these albums, but I bought them anyway because, why not? They were $8. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go listen to all of these, and then I'll report back with what I think of them and what they sound like. So, all right. Well, I'm back, and I've listened to all 4 of these records. And let's talk about this one first. We're going to talk about Double Fantasy, John Lennon and Yoko Ono. I mean, I'm not going to go too deep on all of these. This one is a misprint. The track listing right there is not the same as the record. When you're looking these up on Discogs, there's like 70 different versions. Really hard to find the right one. Came with an inner sleeve. It's got the lyrics on it. Record looks great. Sounded great. I'm calling this one VG plus both. I mean, the cover, it's got that right there a little bit. So probably VG rather than VG plus, but the record is definitely a VG plus. What do you say about this? Well, it's got just like Starting Over and Watching the Wheels, which I love both of those songs. So right there, it's worth the money. But what I really enjoyed about this album, what really got me about this is how much I enjoyed the Yoko Ono stuff. Basically what this album is you have songs by John Lennon, you have songs by Yoko Ono. I'm assuming John's playing some of the music on there. But the Yoko Ono stuff I think is great, and I've never really heard any of that before. There's all the talk about Yoko Ono and how terrible everything was, and it's her fault the Beatles broke up, which we all know was bullshit. Bands break up, it's got nothing to do with girlfriends or whatever. Sometimes it does, but whatever. Is all I know is you hear when you're out there people talk about how terrible Yoko's music is or whatever. This album right here, this is great. Her stuff is great on here. There's a song called Kiss Kiss, I think that's what it's called. that really stuck out. Yeah, it's called Kiss, Kiss, Kiss. And it's the second song on side one, and it struck me and grabbed me immediately. It's like, this album's from 1980, and it's like early new wave type of sound, like that new wave of like British new wave type music. It kind of sounds like that. Her voice is really weird and bizarre, and it's very experimental, but it's a great song. And at the end, there's this whole thing where basically it sounds like Yoko is having an orgasm on camera. And I know that's been done, Guns N' Roses, famously, Axl recorded himself having sex with Steven Adler's girlfriend and put it on Rocket Queen. And I thought that was the only time that had ever happened. But Yoko Ono, I don't know, it sounded real to me. And I was like, holy crap, that sounds like Yoko's having a good time. So that might be one of the first times that ever happened. So I don't know, but it was good. I liked it a lot. So I would recommend buying that. All right, the other one, Madonna. So this has been at the record store for a while, and I'm surprised that it lasted, honestly. And it flips over that way. This design, supposedly, from what I was reading, was back in 1984 when this album came out. This was deemed a little provocative, right? So they gave an alternate cover so the record stores could put it this way instead, supposedly less provocative. This is a VG Plus cover all the way. Oh, see, look, I turned it upside down. I do prefer this over this, but yeah, it's really good, actually. It's pretty good. It's got Material Girl, Like a Virgin, other songs that I didn't really, there was one on here that I knew, but I couldn't tell you right now the name of it. But Material Girl, Like a Virgin, honestly, it's a really good album. When I was looking it up and looking at it, apparently it's one of the first records that was totally recorded digitally. It was kind of a new thing that Nile Rodgers had to be talked into. All this music is by Nile Rodgers. And then it had this original inner sleeve and this picture here. It's a really good album, and what this has convinced me of is I need to buy a couple more Madonna albums, honestly, because it was so good. I was super impressed by the sound of it and everything else. God, she was so beautiful. And Madonna, for me, this came out in 84. I would have been sophomore in high school. We were all in love with Madonna. Whether we listened to her or not, we knew the songs Like a Virgin and, Lucky Star and all the stuff that was on MTV. But, I never would have bought a Madonna album back then. Are you kidding me? I was a heavy metal guy, My sister-in-law will be totally stoked when she finds out I bought this, so she can give me shit because she's like the hugest Madonna fan I've ever met in my life. So, but I recommend it. I think it's really, really good. So I would go ahead and pick that up. All right, let's talk about this here right here, the Divinyls. Okay, this one is called Desperate. It is from 1983. This is their second album. And No Winner. The only, the cover, obviously, I've got listed, I don't know if I'd call that poor. That's pretty bad right there. I think I listed it as good because it's not really split. It's just got this shit here and bad ring wear or whatever. No inner sleeve, and I don't know if it came with inner sleeve. What it came with in this one, it has this, but it says Chrysalis right on it. So I don't know if this is what came with the record or not. So the sleeve itself, I called it good. The record, VG Plus. And this, I was totally surprised by how great this album is. This album is raw, early, new waves from 1983. This is that new wave sound that was happening in that time. This band is from Australia, I think, I think they're from Australia. It's great. It's got that new wave sound, but it's also got that like Australian rock and roll sound, and it's very raw. It's very early. Like I said, this is their second album. I think their first album came out in 82. I didn't know any of these songs because I've never listened to a Divinyls album in my life until today. And it was really, really good. So I would recommend if you can find them, especially for $8, I couldn't go wrong for $8. That's the thing. You only regret the records you didn't buy. So when I saw both of these, And this is the other Divinyls record. God, what a life, right? These two on the back are basically the singer-songwriter. Um, this was very good also, not quite as raw as the other one. I put this cover also because, I mean, it's got sticker residue right here, got ring wear. The top is kind of screwed up. I called this one good also. The record itself is VG+. This one had an inner sleeve, which has got some splits on it. You can see there's a split at the bottom right there. The inner sleeve is there and there. This one was good, not as good as the other one. I think this the one from '83, Desperate. It's more raw sounding. I kind of liked it more than this. Was a little more polished. Sounded almost a little less hungry, I guess, a little less rocky, rock type, more of that new wave synth type sound coming through it, where Desperate has more of a rock and roll feel to it. So, but also what this has done is I look into Discogs and they've got like 3 more records before they went away. And, you know, like I said, when I first bought it, the only thing I knew of the Divinyls was I Touch Myself, and that's on like their 5th record. So this is their 2nd and 3rd. So got 2 more that come afterwards and one earlier one. I haven't looked for them yet, but I'm going to definitely be picking them up in the future because here's a secret for you guys. You all know me, and I'm, you know, heavy metal fan. You can tell by looking at all my shit back here that I listen to hard rock and heavy metal, but my like little secret passion is like new wave synth type music. I love this, you know, that's why when I saw these Divinyls album, it's perfect. It fits in that genre. You know, bands like the Human League and the Fix and stuff like that, and the Go-Go's, and I love all that stuff. And it's kind of like a little secret, you know. Not really a secret because I'm not that way anymore. I am old enough to accept everything that I like. So this Divinyls album fit right in with that genre that's over there, which is honestly one of my favorite genres right after, you know, all of the metal. And metal has multiple subgenres or whatever. But yeah, new wave music, synth pop type music is kind of like my little escape, my what's that word that they use for that? Hell, you know, guilty pleasure, I guess, you know. So yeah, it was good. They were all good, you know. 18 times 2, so 36 plus another 16. So, you know, I spent like, you know, with taxes, I spent like $50 on 4 albums, all OG presses. They all sound great. There's no pops, there's no skips. They're all VG Plus records. It was definitely a great day at the record store today. Thank you, and Vinyl from Clarksville, Tennessee, for you know, and Tony out there for help, you know, for having all that shit and having a store here, so I don't have to drive 35 miles to Nashville to go to a fucking record store. It's the only one in town that we have. When I first moved here, we had 2 of them. The other one closed, but that guy's records were shit anyway. So, and his prices were too high and everything else. So that's why he went out of business, I would assume. So anyway, thanks to the record store. Thank you guys for watching. If you got some Divinyls, give them a listen. They're really good. You know, that Madonna album was really good. And that John Lennon Yoko Ono album was really good too. And I was totally surprised by how good all of these records are. You know, the Madonna record was more along the line. It had been there for a while. I'd seen it 2 or 3 times and I like, oh, should I buy this? It's Madonna. Why would I want to do that? And then, you know, yesterday I just pulled the trigger and bought it. And I'm glad I did. And I'm glad it's not gone. And when I went up to check out, Tony's like, I'm surprised this is still here. It's been here for a while. It's a really good record. I don't know why nobody's bought it. And I'm like, yeah, well, I've got it. We'll see what happens. And, you know, he even commented about how what I'm buying today, what I bought today was way out of my genre. But, you know, because I usually go in and I buy rock and roll and heavy metal and punk or whatever. You know, I did have a Led Zeppelin album in my hand, but, you know, $42 for Physical Graffiti repress seems a little high to me. So I put it back and basically I bought 3 records for the price of 1 with that. So, but I'll end up with that Physical Graffiti sooner or later, of course. because, I got to finish the Led Zeppelin collection, only got a couple more to go. But what this has done by collecting records and going in and doing something like this and buying bands like the Divinyls and Madonna has got me to the point where now I got to go buy more records because I need, a couple more Divinyls albums. I'll need some more Madonna albums to kind of fill this in because I'm super impressed by how good they were. So, and that's what I love about record collecting. Well, thank you all for watching, and I will talk to you all later. Have a great day, guys.